Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. Allahumma rabbi zidni ilma. Sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. Ameen. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. The topic of this lecture is important questions of normal distribution. For this lecture, I am using the work of one of my best student, Miss Sharika, of class 2020, the Lyceum. An important advice for me and for everyone, we should be honest. This is the list of the questions of this book. Before starting this lecture, let me tell you one very important thing. If you are using this silver calculator or blue calculator, then silver calculator, blue calculator, they both work in the same way. They give you this area. That calculator or those calculators, they both are same. In fact, the only difference in the color, I guess, they give the area on the left side of this reference line. So whenever you use silver calculator or blue calculator, make sure you understand that your calculator is giving you this area. Your calculator will always give you area of the left side of the reference line. So if you need this area through calculator, you need to first get this area. Let's suppose this is 2.32. So you need to get phi 2.32 through calculator and then subtract it from 1. Like 1 minus phi 2.32. So please remember this thing. If you are using a silver calculator for phi, because you cannot get inverse from silver calculator, you can only find inverse from latest version, which I have discussed in my lecture 2. So if you are using silver calculator or blue calculator, then remember this thing, your calculator will always give you this area, the area of the left side of this reference line. Okay, now let's start this lecture. I'm sorry. The times of a certain car journey have a normal distribution with mean 100. This is mu. And standard deviation is 7. This is sigma. So two informations are given. This is the normal distribution with mean 100 and variance is 7 square. And these are some important informations regarding the short journey, long journey, and standard. The short is 33%, long is 33%, remaining 34%. This information will be used in second part. Now, number 1, find the probability that a randomly chosen car takes between 85 and 100 minutes. And one very important thing, before watching this lecture, make sure you have watched my lecture 1. Because in lecture 1, I have discussed very important concepts of normal distribution. So I will not discuss those concepts here. I will straight away discuss the solutions of the questions. So if you are not good at normal distribution, even if you are good at normal distribution, make sure you have watched my lecture 1 on normal distribution, because you will find a lot of new things in that lecture, which will help you to understand this chapter well. Those who are using latest version of the calculator, they must watch my both lectures. The first lecture is compulsory for everyone, and the next lecture, the latest calculator version lecture, is only for those students who have latest calculator. If someone doesn't have the latest calculator, he or she should not watch that lecture. Anyway, we need this probability, this thing. So you all know we convert this statement from x into z with the help of this formula. Z is x minus mu over sigma. So we have 85 minus mu over 7, and then 100 minus 100 over 7. So I'm getting these values. And I discussed this thing in my first lecture, that we write this thing as phi 0, and negative value we always write this as 1 minus phi 2.143. So we always write positive number as phi and negative as 1 minus phi. So you can easily get these things. I'm not discussing if you are using table, you can easily get this, If you are using silver calculator, you can get these two. This is very simple. Phi of 0 is 0.5. I mean, left side of 0 is 0.5. So you don't need to use even calculator or table. You can directly write this 0.5. This total is 0.5, and you just need to subtract this area from 0.5. So see, get these things from table or calculator, whatever you want. If you are using the latest version, then that calculator will make this calculation very simple. After this step, write this thing. I mean, take this as the lower limit, this as the upper limit, and get this area. I mean, put this number in your calculator as lower limit, this as upper limit. Your calculator will give you this area. So you will get this answer. So this is so simple. So uh, I will not discuss which method you will use. It's your choice. Use table or calculator. I will just discuss the how to solve the questions through latest version. Like till here, all methods are same. Till here, table is same. All calculators are same. Now this step, we did this step through latest calculator. We substituted this as lower limit, this as upper limit, and we got this. Those who are using table, they need to write 0.5 here, minus 1 plus 5, and then they need to write this number here. Those who are using silver calculator, they should write this number here and then just do the calculations. So it's your choice. You can do anything. You can use calculator, you can use table. I have discussed everything in my previous 2 lectures. Anyway, this is the next thing. Find the least and greatest times for standard journeys. Well, shortest, longest, standard. So shortest 33, it should be here. Longest 33, it should be here. And this is the standard. So to get the time for standard journeys, you need to work for L and S. See, you can make your calculations very simple. You just need to work for L. Get L. See, if the L is 4, let's suppose L is 104, then this difference must be 4. So if you will subtract 4 from 100, you will automatically get the value of S. You don't need to work S direct. I mean, you don't need to calculate S directly. You can get this indirectly with the help of L, because according to symmetry, these two differences are same. So whatever the difference, this difference is, the same difference must be here. So you can get S directly. So just work for L. So for L, you have two inequalities. Either use this or this. You have both the options. If you are writing x greater than L, then you need to write this probability here. If you are writing x less than L, then you need to add these two probabilities. So you have both the options. I'm using this option. Since you are here, so this number is positive. This is positive. So your number will be positive, 0.33. Phi inverse of 0.67 is this, or phi inverse 0.33 is this. If you are using table, you need to get phi inverse 0.67 from your table. You will get this thing. If you are using your calculator, the latest version, you can either put this thing in your calculator or this thing in your calculator in inverse option, and you will get the same thing. So L is 103.1. That means this difference is 3.1. Therefore, this must be 3.1. So if you will subtract 3.1 from 100, you will automatically get the value of S. It should be 96.9. Let me write the calculation of S. S will be 100 minus 3.1. That means 96.9. Give your answer up to 3 significant figures. And L should be 103. In 3 significant figures. This is the box plot, and this is the symmetrical box plot. This is representing the normal distribution. So zero point 0.5 area is here and zero point 0.5 area is here. You all know this is the Q1, this is the median, and this is the Q3. The probability of Q1 is 0.25, this is 0.25. Probability of median is 0.5, whereas the probability of Q3 is 0.75. You need standard deviation and you need mu. For normal distribution, I have discussed in my first lecture that mean, median, and mode all are same. So the median of this box plot is the average of these two numbers, 39 and 63. If you take the average of these two numbers, you can easily get 51. Do this solution. Mu is 63, 39 over 2, the average of these two. So it's 51. This is the way to get mu. Just leave this calculation. Although you are getting the same answer, but this calculation is difficult. This one. I'm doing this calculation here. 39, 63 over 2, which is 51. That's it. This is the part 1, answer of part 1. Now we need sigma. Now for sigma, we have two inequalities. We can either use 63 or 39. I'm using 63 because this is the easiest one. So this is upper quartile, and you know the probability of upper quartile is this. So let me write this thing here. This will make your calculation simple, and you can understand this concept well. The probability of Q3 is 0.75 and Q3 is just 63. So use this and do inverse normal. You need to get phi inverse 0.75. Phi inverse 0.75 is 0.674. So this is 12 upon sigma. Let me clear this. This number is 12 upon sigma. And your sigma is 17.8 up to 3 significant figures. You all know how to shade this area. Since we have lesser sign, you have to shade from lower tail towards the upper tail. So your unknown is here. 12 upon sigma is here. And you are getting this value from your calculator or table. So when you will solve this equation, you will easily get this sigma. This is the inverse normal. Question number 3. The weights x grams of bars of soap are normally distributed with mean, this is mu and this is standard deviation. They are here. Make sure whenever you write in this way, write sigma square. This is sigma and this is sigma square. You don't need to mention the bracket here. Just write 4.2 square. Well, so this is the normal distribution with mean 125, variance 4.2 square. We need probability that randomly chosen bar of soap weighs more than 128 grams. So we need probability x greater than 128. We need this probability. This is so simple. You just need to convert this statement from x into z. Write 128 minus mu over 4.2 standard deviation. You are getting this thing. This is the sketch. This area is 1 minus 5.714. Must write this thing here, and then your choice. Use table or use calculator. If you are using table, get this value from the table, subtract it from 1 and get the answer. If you are using the silver calculator, then put this number in your calculator will give you this answer, subtract this answer from 1 and get this answer. If you are using the latest model of the calculator, then get this area. Like put this as lower limit, this as the upper limit, your calculator will give you this answer, subtract this answer from 0.5 and get this area. Now the next part. The next part of this question is very important. One of the most important question of normal distribution, because this is unknown. See, one very important concept. When both numbers are known, like we have numerical values. So even if we have negative value, we write positive here. This is very important. Whatever the value we have, negative. So whenever we have negative, we always write positive in phi. So we always write positive number in phi if numerical value is negative. Since this is the negative numerical number, so write this as positive. So take positive, phi positive for numerical values. But for unknown, you have to decide phi from the sketch. If it's negative, must mention negative. So I'm writing this concept here. For known, you can write for negative numerical values. Take phi positive. For example, if you have negative 2.132, write phi. The answer is 1 minus phi, in fact. So this will be 1 minus phi positive. Now this is very important. Take positive number. Positive. We did this concept here. See, this number was negative and I wrote this as positive because this is the numerical value. So we always consider numerical value as positive for phi. But when we have unknown value, like this is unknown, here I will consider negative. If this number is on negative side of the curve, I will write negative. So for unknown numbers, always consider the negative sign for phi. See, this is here. Now we have to solve this question, the part 2, find k. See, first convert this in the form of z and then sketch this curve. You need to sketch this. See, this is the sketch. This number is 0.7143. This is 0.7143. So this number must be close to 0 because we have 3 here. And this probability is greater than 0.5. This probability is very large. So you cannot fit this probability here. This probability cannot be fitted here. So this means this number must be on left side of the 0. So this number must be negative. This is very important. This concept is very important because this number is negative. So you have to write negative sign with phi. This is what I'm explaining you. When we have known numbers, when we have numbers like this, we always write positive phi. But when we have unknown numbers, then we always write negative sign with phi. Don't forget this concept. Otherwise, you won't be able to solve this question easily. Since this quantity is negative, so must mention this negative here. See, this number is positive, so it will become phi. And this is negative, and negative, we always write negative as 1 minus phi. This is the property number 6 of first lecture of phi. Now just after writing this equation, you can easily solve this equation because this step is extremely important. This one. This is the most important step. After this sketch, write this step because this is positive phi, so it will become, this is positive number, so it will become just phi. Positive number will always become phi and negative number will always become 1 minus phi. Now you just need to get this phi. This is either from calculator or table. So this the value of this phi is 0.7625. This minus 1 is here. Enter this negative here. So you will get minus k plus 125 over 4.2. And this is here. Now make this thing subject. Now take phi inverse of this number. Phi inverse of this number is 2.1444 in fact. Now get the value of k. Please understand this concept well. This is one of the most important concept of normal distribution. This one. I'm repeating, since this number is unknown, according to sketch, this number is negative. So I must take negative sign here. And I'm taking negative sign here. If you want to take the screenshot of this solution, you can. Now the last part of this question. This is basically normal to binomial. So this concept is very important. This is normal to binomial. There is no need for continuity correction from normal to binomial. You can understand this concept through this thing, through n. When we use this concept, when n is less than 30 in the normal distribution question. This is the hint. So when n is less than 30, we can use the probability of normal as p of binomial. And we can solve the question of normal through binomial, like in this question. 5 bars. This 5 means n is 5. So 5 bars of soap are chosen at random. Find the probability that more than 2, we need more than 2, so x greater than 2, each weight more than 128 grams. See, write your question in this way. This is the requirement. This is the best way of writing the question of binomial or normal. Always mention this thing here. This weighs more than 128 gram, because this information will help you to get the p for binomial through normal distribution. So weight more than 128 gram. Now check this in normal distribution. So it's mentioned weights more than 128 gram. So weights more than 128 gram, the probability is this. This is more than 128 grams. So this is the p for this part. You always get p of binomial through normal distribution. Normally p is in the previous parts. If don't, then you have to find p through normal distribution and then use it in binomial distribution. So this number is p 0.2375. Let me write this here. This is from normal distribution. 0.2375. You have p, you have n, you can easily get q, because q is 1 minus p, and this is the formula of binomial distribution. NCR p to the power r, q to the power n minus r. Use this formula and get the answer. And write your answer up to 3 significant figure. And more than 2 means these are the numbers. You have both the options. You can solve this question in this way as well. Like 3, 4, 5. Just get these 3 probabilities, add them and get the answer. Or use this method. 1 minus these numbers. You must be good at binomial. 1 minus 0, 1 and 2. 0, 1 or 2. So you have both the option. In this question you can use any option, because both the options are almost similar. This student use this option. Question number 4 is the most repeated question of normal distribution, the simultaneous equations. So the random variable x is the length of time in minutes that j takes to mend a bicycle puncture. X as normal distribution with mean and variance, mu and sigma square. It is given that this is the first equation and this is the second equation. With the help of these two equations, we will form two equations for sigma and mu. And then we will solve those equations simultaneously. So number one, this is the first equation and this is the second equation. First convert x into z here and here. Now let's focus on to this equation first. Now you need to shade this area. Since we have greater sign, so we have to shade this area in this way. In this way, upper tail to from upper tail towards lower tail. So this is the required area. And get the phi inverse of this. So the phi inverse of this is 1.04505. This student is using calculator, the latest model, and she got this value. Now form equation number 1. This is the equation number 1. You can call this as equation 1. And this is the equation number 2. So you can just shade this area through, since we have greater sign here, so shade this area according to this sign of inequality. Since this area is greater than 0.5, so you have to cross the central line, so your number is negative. So must write negative sign in the answer, or right here or here. So this, with the help of this thing, you can get equation number 2. Now after getting these two equations, just solve them simultaneously and get the values of mu and sigma. Write your answer into up to 3 significant figures. So this answer must be 23.0, and I think this must be 6.70. Question number 5. In the holidays, Martin spends 25% of the day playing computer games. Martin's friend phones him once a day at a randomly chosen time. Find the probability that in one holiday period of 8 days, there are exactly 2 days on which Martin is playing computer game when his friend phones. So this is the question of binomial distribution. N is 8 and P is 0.25, and we need this probability exactly 2. So you know how to solve this through binomial. Another holiday period lasts for 12 days. State with a reason whether it is appropriate to use the normal approximation to find the probability that there are fewer than 7 days on which Martin is playing computer game when his friends phones. Now for that we need to check both NP and NQ. If both are greater than 5, then we can use the approximation, otherwise we cannot. So NP is 3 and NQ is 9. Since both are not greater than 5, therefore we cannot use normal approximation. Number 3. Find the probability that there are at least 13 days of a 40-day holiday period on which Martin is playing computer games when his friend phones. So this is the binomial question, but n is greater than 30, and this is the hint of using the normal approximation, because if you will check NP and NQ, both are greater than 5 in this case. So you have to do continuity correction. This is the normal approximation question. The first possible integer is 13. Therefore, since we are going on right side of the number line, so we have to take lower bound of this number. So the number is 12.5 minus NP over NPQ. And this is 1 minus 5 because we need this area, and this is the final answer. This is the question of normal approximation. That is why I'm asking everyone who are watching this lecture, they must have watched lecture 1 to understand these concepts in detail. Here I use NP and here NPQ. Next question. The first part, the lengths of new pencils are normally distributed with mean this and standard deviation this. Find the probability that a pencil chosen at random has a length greater than 10.5. So we need this probability greater than 10.5. This is so simple. This is the direct normal. You just need to convert this into z, and you're getting this thing. You need a large area, so this is phi, and you can easily get this. I'm not discussing how to get this because maybe student is using calculator or tables. So I'm just leaving this question here because I already have discussed these things in detail. So I will leave my question solution here, and you have to do this yourself. Because if I will keep discussing these things, you have to use the latest calculator, that then this lecture will be very lengthy, and this thing can be confusing for the students. Can confuse the student, in fact. So I'm leaving my solution here. Now this question is normal to binomial because n is very small, 6, and 2 have length less than 10.9. So with the help of this information, we can get P of binomial. So we have greater than 10.9. This probability is this. So less than 10.9, the probability will be 1 minus this. This is here. So greater than 10.9 probability is this. So less than 10.9, the probability will be 1 minus this, which is this. So by using binomial distribution, we can get this probability. Greater equal to 2 means 1 minus 0, 1. If you are good at binomial, you can easily handle these calculations yourself. Now, next question number 7. The random variable x is normally distributed with mean and sigma. We have this probability equation, and this equation, with the help of these two, we can easily get mu and sigma. Well, we need this probability. So x less than 2 mu. When you will convert this into z, you will get 2 mu minus mu over this. When you will simplify this, you will get 1.67. This is the larger area, so this must be for phi, and this is 0.952. Now we have another inequality equation, and this equation, with the help of these two, we can get mu and sigma. We need a relation between mu and sigma, in fact. So 1 upon 3 mu, this thing. Now you have, this is inverse normal. Whenever probability is given, then the question is of inverse normal. Now you need to shade this area according to this sign. So when you will shade this area, you will get this thing. Let me sketch this and shade this area. So you need to shade in this way, from lower tail towards upper tail. So your number is positive, mu upon 3. And this area is here. So this must be phi. And you can easily get this either by using table or calculator. So this is the answer. This number is 1.047. This number is 1.047, and here we have minus 2 upon 3 mu. So mu is this. Question 8. The heights that children of a particular age can jump have a normal distribution. On average, 8 children out of 10. This means 8 upon 10. More than 127. So you have to form the equation yourself with the help of this information. This question is important because you are making the equation yourself. So 8 out of 10 can jump a height of more than 127. So form this equation yourself. And one child out of 3 can jump a height of more than 135. Form this equation, solve these two, and get the standard deviation and mean. So you have to shade this area according to the sign of inequality. This area is here. This number must be negative. So it's negative. and this area is positive because this is before the zero, well before the zero. So this is equal to this, and this thing is equal to minus 0.846. Get two equations, solve them simultaneously and get the values of mu and sigma. When you'll take phi inverse of this, you'll get this. When you'll take phi inverse of this, you'll get this. You have to decide negative and positive through a sketch. This number is negative, so write negative. This number is positive, so write positive. Part 2, find the probability that a child will not be able to jump a height. That means like greater than this probability will not be able to jump a height of 145. So this sign is less than. Let me correct this. We need this probability. Will not be able to jump a height of more than 145. So this is less than. That means 45 or less. So you can even write equal sign here. It's your choice because in normal distribution, they both mean same thing. This means same thing. So your answer is 0.978. You just need to solve this inequality with the help of these values of mu and sigma. Make sure you will use the accurate values of mu and sigma. That's your answer. Now the last part is of again normal to binomial. 8, because this 8 means normal to binomial. At least 2 will jump a height of more than 135. So more than 135 probability is 1 upon 3. So this information will help you to get P of binomial with the help of normal distribution. So P is 1 upon 3. And more than at least 2 means 1 minus 0, 1. That's the final answer into up to 3 significance. Well, estimate and expected number means they all mean same thing mean. They all means n times probability of the requirement because they are saying here how many would you expect. So expect means n times the probability of the requirement. So the times taken by students to get up in the morning can be modeled by a normal distribution with mean this and standard deviation this. For a random sample of 350, find the number who would be expected. So for expected means 350 times probability of this requirement, longer than 20 minutes. So 350 times probability of requirement, longer than 20 minutes. This will become phi. So you can write this as 350 times phi 1.730. See, I'm not considering negative sign here. I already have informed you or told you and explained you that we never take negative sign of numerical value. We always take positive. That's the final answer. Always round this in backward direction because you have 335 children. You cannot convert this number into 336 children. This is the fact in fact. Now part 2, very slow students are students whose time to get up is more than 1.645 times standard deviation above the mean. Now this information means more than 1. I discussed this thing in my lecture 1. This means 1.645 above the mean means mu plus, more than means greater. So this is the information basically. This statement means this thing. Mathematically you have to write this thing. This means is this thing. Now with the help of this information you will find probability, and this probability will be used for binomial because in the next part of this question they are saying find the probability that fewer than 3 in a sample of 8. So this is normal to binomial, but first you need to use you need to get this probability. So first solve this. You'll get 1.645. This means 1 minus 5, small area, and this is the P for binomial, and use this P for this less than 3. This is the complete solution. First we solved this and we got this as P, and then we solve this through binomial, and this is the final answer. You can take a screenshot if you want. The distance of the Z car can travel on 20 liters of fuel is normally distributed with mean this and standard deviation this. This is here. The distance of G car can travel 20 liters of fuel is normally distributed this. Find the probability that it runs out of fuel before it has traveled 367 kilometer for each car. So this is so simple, you just need to get this probability. That's the answer. That's the answer. Just need to solve this equation and this thing. Now the next part. The probability of a Z car can travel at least this on 20 liters of fuel is this. Find the value of D. This is so simple. At least means greater equal. You need this probability. I mean, you need the value of D. This is the equation. So first convert this in the form of Z. So you need to shade this area. This area is on right side. So when you will take phi inverse of this, you'll get this thing. If you are using table, then you won't be able to get phi inverse of this. You need to get phi inverse of this number and then get this. This is the value of T. You must know how to handle this thing. Well, this question is important because this is a new type of question. You have to suggest the parameters. Name the distribution and suggest suitable numerical parameters. You could use the model the weights. Weights means continuous measurable quantity, so you have to mention normal distribution. The name of the distribution is normal. Of female 18-year-old students. So you have to suggest the mean weight of 18 years old students, female students, and their standard deviation. Well, normally weight, you know sigma square, large values means more variation, low peaks, and small values means high peaks, less variation. So sigma square, if sigma square is large, that means more variation, that means low peaks. Sigma square, if sigma square is small, then that means less variation, that means high peaks. I discussed these things in my lecture 1. So normally weight lies between this range of 18-year-old student, 50 to 70 you can say, or you can say 45 to 65. This is better. So normally weight lies in this range. You can make any range. You can suppose weight lies between this or this. You have option. If you are supposing this one, then take the average of this. The average of this will be 55. If you are supposing this interval, then the average will be 60, and they both are fine. This is more precise because normally weights lies in this range of 18-year female old students, and this one is also fine, but both are like precise values. This is more precise, this is more accurate value. Weight lies around this value. So if you are writing this value, then make sure you write a small value of sigma square because you are writing more precise value, the accurate value. If you are writing this, again you have to write a small value of sigma square greater than from this value. But if you are writing this weight, let's suppose if someone is writing 70, 70 is abnormal. I mean, on average, weights are not 70 kg for 18-year female students. So if someone is writing 70, then he or she needs to write large value of sigma square. Maybe sigma square is 180 or something like that. So small values of sigma square this is the range of small values of sigma square. And this is the range of large values of sigma square. So if you write precise value, then pick the value from this range. If you write abnormal values, 70 is not the right value. Average weight is not 70. So you need to write maybe 160, 180, like something like that. It's better to write 200 if you're writing 70 kg. So if someone is writing mean is 70, then he must write 200 here, like 180, 190, 200. If someone is writing 60 kg, then he needs to write, or he or she needs to write small value sigma square, because this number is precise. So he or she can write 100, maybe here 100. And if someone is writing 55, then he or she must write this value 55, maybe 80 or 90 here, because this value is more precise. This student wrote this thing. Of course, there are some ranges in the marking scheme. You will find range of answers. I already have explained uh, how to write the answers. So this is one way, second way, and the third way. So this student uses this way. So 60, 90, that's the final answer. This one is also fine. So you can write, you just need to use a common sense and write the weight of the student. And if you are writing precise value, then take the small values of sigma. And if you are writing abnormal value, then write a large value of sigma square. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you can. Well, now I will leave easy questions, and I will only discuss the difficult questions. This question is simple. We have this equation and this equation. We will form equation from this of mu and sigma, and then we will solve these two equations. So this is equation number 1, and with the help of this equation we can form second equation. We have to shade this area is here, so my number must be positive. So this is the second equation. By solving these two equations simultaneously, we can get mu and sigma. Let me make the sketch of this equation, this part. So this probability is here. So this number is positive. This is 1.272. This area is here. Second part is simple. We need the value of A. So this is so simple. Just convert this in the form of Z. You'll get this thing. And you need to solve this in this way, that this number is here, A upon under root 21, and this total area is 0.75. Because this area is 0.5 and this is 0.25, so this total is 0.75. If you will solve this equation, only this equation, you can easily get the value of A. So you have option, you can either solve both or solve this. The better thing is solve this equation. Whenever you have like terms, then solve this one. When you take phi inverse of this, you'll get this thing, and this is the answer of A. Give your answer up to 3 significant figures. Well, the first part, the lengths in centimeters of drinking straws produced in a factory normal distribution with mean this and variance this. 10% of the straws are shorter than. That means 10% shorter than means less than 20. So this information means this in equation. When you will solve this equation, you can easily get mu. So this part is simple, so I'm leaving this. This is Z less than. You need to shade this area, and you are on left side, so the number is negative. So make sure you write negative here. This number is negative. You should write negative 1.2816. So this entire is negative 1.2816. And that's your answer. Find the probability that 4, this is normal to binomial. So 4 straws chosen at random, n is 4. Fewer than 2 will have length between these two. You need to work out this probability because this will give you P of binomial. This information will help you to get the P of binomial. So first solve this inequality. When you will solve this, you will get this thing. This is P. Both are positive, so this is phi and this is also phi. This is P and this is Q. So you just need to use a binomial distribution, less than 2. So less than 2 means 0, 1. That's the way to solve this. You can take the screenshot of the solution if you want. Next question. This question is simple, so I should leave this. This one is also simple. I'm leaving this. Now this is normal approximation. 250 independent observations of X are taken. Find the probability that at least 235 of them are less than 20. Now less than 20 means you can get the probability from here. So your P must be 0.96 because this is greater than 20. So the P of binomial is 0.96. And you have to use normal approximation for this question. So this is binomial, at least 235. So use number line for the continuity correction. 235 is here. After the continuity correction, after taking the lower bound of this, we have 234.5. This is NP and this is NPQ. Take the screenshot of the solution as well if you want. This question is important, especially this statement. The weights of letters posted by certain businesses are normally distributed with mean 20. It is found that weights of 94% of letters are within 12 gram of the mean. Now within 12 gram of the mean means, I have discussed these things in detail in my first lecture. Now let me write this here. This means modulus X less than mu plus 12 and the probability is 0.94. This means within, meaning this area is 94%. And mean is 20, so within 12 means 12 plus 20 plus 12, 20 minus 12, like this. Mu plus 12, mu minus 12. So this area is 94%. Since this is not standard normal, so both the areas are equal. So this is 3% and this is 3%, and this total area is 97%. So you have two options to get standard deviation. Either use this inequality, like x greater than 32 is 3%, or use this inequality. It's your choice. Use any one. I'm using this one. So convert this in the form of z into z, and this area is positive. So I mean, area is always positive. This number is positive. This number is positive because you are here before 0. So 12 upon sigma, just solve this and get the value of sigma. Make sure you will use this value in the later part. Always use 4 decimal place value in later part. Well, this is the answer, and I'm using this value here. X greater than 13 is simple, direct normal. This will become the large area. Larger area is always phi. So this is the answer. Now this is normal to binomial because n is 7 and at least 2 more than 12 gram above the mean. Now 12 gram above the mean means this probability, 3%. This statement means this area. So this means P is 3% of binomial. So 12 gram above the mean is 3%. So at more than equal to 2, that means 1 minus 0 1. With the help of binomial you can do this. You can check the solution again. Let me check this question. If this is simple, then I will leave this. The first part is simple. We need between these two. Probability of this, you can do this yourself. Temperature below 0, this is also simple. 70 winter days, this is normal, binomial to normal. No, sorry, this is expected. How many would be expected? So this is n times probability of requirement. This is of this type, not approximation. So this is more than 3 times the mean. So more than 3 times the mean, get this probability and then multiply this with n. The n is 70 and the answer is, what is the requirement? How many of these days? So the days will be 12. Houses, so the houses will be, let me correct this. Let me read the question. 70 winter days are chosen at random. Find how many of these would be expected to have minimum temperature which is more than 3 times the mean. So whenever you go in the next day, then you have to write the next day. Since you are using 0.1 next day, so this will be a complete day. So the answer is 12 days. Always round this in the forward direction because you are using some part of the next day, so 12 days. Part 4. The probability of the minimum temperature being 6 degrees is this. This is simple. This is inverse normal. You can do this yourself. I'm leaving this. This is of simultaneous, so I'm leaving this. The second part is of binomial, so you can do this yourself. Because I already have discussed a lot of questions of normal to binomial. The second part of this question is important. The first part is simple. I'm leaving the first part. First part, you just need to solve these two equations, get sigma and mu. Second part is important. In a random sample of 1,000 body feathers from birds of this species, how many would the researcher expect? Expect means n times probability of the requirement. Now this is very important, more than 1 standard deviation from the mean. So this means this thing. I discussed this thing in detail in my first lecture. Modulus x, this is the requirement. So modulus x greater than mu plus 1 sigma. So this area and this area is required, so just get this area. So 2 times this thing. And this area is this. Now multiply this by 1,000 and round this backward direction, because 317.9 means 317 words, not 318. You can get this solution PDF on the Facebook later today, inshallah. My Facebook name is Sir Muhammad Qadri, page name. So you will find this PDF over there, inshallah. Now the last part of this question is important. This thing is important. Both means and means multiply. So you just need to get the probabilities of both types. See, assuming that the times to play the two symphonies are independent of each other, find the probability that both are played, both of the times are less than 34.6. So both means multiply. So get the probabilities of both separately and then multiply them. So see, and then multiply these two. This is part 3, sorry. This area and this area, just need to multiply these two. Both means multiply. Just this was word important and then the rest was simple. Whenever it says both, then you need to multiply both the answers. Simultaneous, I'm leaving. Now this is very important. This is one of the most important thing of normal distribution. Whenever you get exact number like 34, you cannot find this probability. You need to use lower bound and upper bound. So whenever this is exactly, so you always take the lower and upper bound of the number, because you cannot find this probability in normal distribution, equal thing. This is not possible. So always write lower and upper bound. Correct to nearest centimeter means take the lower bound of this and upper bound of this here. So by taking the lower and upper bound, we have this, get this area, and that's it. Now the last part is important because this is unknown. So since this is unknown, so and this number is negative and this area is 0.5, so this number is here and you cannot fit 0.5 over here, you cannot fit 0.5 here, so this number must be positive. So you should write 5 for this and 1 minus 5 for this. This is positive and this is negative. This is close to 0 and this area is 0.5, so this number is positive. For positive you always write 5 and for negative you always write 1 minus 5. Now just solve this thing. Get this thing from the table or calculator, shift this here, take the phi inverse and get the value of t. Check the solution again if you want. I will leave the simple questions now. So this question is simple, so I'm leaving this. Now this is the scale, $1,000. So this is scaled, so you just need to take 10 and 12 from here. So 10 and 12. Make sure you take 10. And 12 because this is according to scale 10. And this is 12 because it's mentioned here $1,000. So this part is simple, you can do this yourself. The next part is of normal to binomial. You can manage this yourself. This question is simple, straightforward, inverse normal. I'm leaving this. This is the second part is also simple, so leave this, leaving this. This question is important. The second part especially, buildings in a certain city center are classified by height as tall, medium or short. The heights can be modeled by normal distribution, mean this, standard deviation this. Building with a height of more than 70 classified as tall. This is so simple, just get this probability. The rest of the buildings are classified as medium and short in such a way that there are twice as many medium buildings are as the short. If shorts are x, then medium will be 2x. So medium is twice of short. So get this probability of medium. So if you will add all the probabilities, you can easily get the value of x. Short means x. Let me write this here. X plus 2x plus long buildings, tall buildings. The probability of tall is 0.10565. This is 1. Get x. So this is the probability of a short building, of short buildings in fact. You can leave this calculation, just do this thing. Short x, medium 2x, tall this, total is always 1, x is this. Now find the height below which the buildings are short, so we need x, probability x less than s, this. We need this thing. So this is simple, you can manage this yourself. You just shade this and solve this. This question is important. I already have discussed this concept in my first lecture that sigma square small means high peaks and sigma square large means low peaks. So these two distributions y and z have small variances and this one has large variance. So they both have same peaks, y and z, and x have one third peak of this peak, because this is 3 times. 16 times 3 makes 48, so this is 3 times, so the peak should be one third of this. And the width, this peak is not looking one third, this should be like this should be the correct peak. Let me try to erase this. The peak should be of one third and the width should be 3 times. This should be the curve of x. So this is one third. See, 1, 2, 3, because this variance is 3 times. So height of x will be one third of height of y or z, and the width will be 3 times. See, this width is 10 units, so this is 30 units. And the width of these two will be same. You can take the screenshot of this if you want. I have mentioned the relations here. Width of x must be 3 and height of x must be one third. Small variances means high peaks and large variance means low peaks. Leaving this question because this is simple. Leaving this as well. This question is also simple. Simple questions. Now this question is important, 33. The second part. The first part is simple. 90% of his calls take longer than 3. So x greater than 3 is 90%. You can solve this yourself. In a randomly sample of 9, this is normal to binomial. More than 7 takes is within one standard deviation above the mean, within one standard deviation of the mean. This means this thing, modulus x less than mu plus 1 sigma. I have discussed this concept in detail in my first lecture. So when you will expand this, you will get this thing. So when you will solve this, you will get this, and this is the p of binomial. And then use this and get the answer. So if you have watched my first lecture, then you will not be confused in this part. You can easily handle this part. This statement means this thing, and this is the way to solve this thing. This question is simple, so I'm leaving this. Simple question, so leaving. This question is good, is important. Small, medium, large. So we have probabilities, we have lengths of all. We need proportion of all three. So this is so simple, get the proportion of this first, small, and get the proportion of this then, large. After getting these two proportions, subtract the probabilities of these two from 1 to get the value of medium. Because total probability is 1. Probability of medium will be 1 minus probability of short and probability of long. We use this formula here. I already have discussed this part in question 3 or 4, I guess. Make sure you take this position carefully. Since this area is 0.8, so this number is 1.091 is here. This is the central line. You cannot fit 0.8 here, so this number must be negative. So write negative here. Since this is unknown, so take negative sign here. And this will be phi, and this will be 1 minus phi negative. So when you will solve this entire thing, you can get the value of k. You need to get the phi of this, then simplify this, and this. Take the phi inverse of this and get the value of k. I discussed this concept in detail in question 3, I guess. This is again simple. Means phi 0. This means this is unknown. So this is negative. So take negative sign here. Repeated question. See, we took negative here because negative, this was a negative. So I took negative here. And this is also negative. So I took negative sign here. Because this thing is here. And then just solve this thing with 0.745, 0.475 in fact. Expected, you all know how to get expected thing. I'm leaving this. N times probability. This question is simple, so I'm leaving this. This is simple. This is also simple. Let me check this. This question is simple. If you want to check this solution, you can on the Facebook later today. Again, we have expected, so 170 times. Round backwards because 37.2 means 37 seats. This sum is simple. This is also a simple question. 365 days estimate. Just need to multiply this and 108. Because in days we always round in forward direction because 0.8 means you have used a large part of next day. Even a small part means next day. Now this question is important. The heights of school texts have normal distribution with mean 69 and standard deviation sigma. It is known that 15.5% of these desks have height greater than 70. First part is simple, so I'm leaving first part. Second part is very important. When Jodo sits at a desk, his knees are at a height of 58 centimeter above the floor. A desk is comfortable for Jodo if his knees are at least 9 centimeter below the top of the desk. You can understand this concept through this sketch. See, these are this is the knee of Jodo. This is the floor. And if his knees are at least 9 centimeter from the top of the desk, then the desk is comfortable. This is the distance from floor and this is the distance of his knee from the top of the desk. So just add these two, you'll get 67. So those desks are comfortable if their heights are greater or equal to 67. We just need to calculate this probability and estimate the number of desks. So 300 times this thing, and you need to round this in backward direction because 0.6 means not a one desk, so 293 desks. Always round this in backward direction. I hope this lecture will help you to understand how to solve the questions of normal distribution. We should be thankful to those who help us, and I am really thankful to all my students who have been helping me in making lectures for YouTube, who have been helping me in making the notes, in making the lectures, in making the PDFs. So I'm extremely thankful to all my students of class 2020, 2021 and 2022. Allah Hafiz.